September 1969 was packed with turning points, departures, and bold new releases. Paul McCartney brought to life his greatest creation to date. Robin Gibb sparked controversy with the Bee Gees family and their music fans. The Kinks dropped their ambitious pop opera with an insane publicity stunt planned, while the Rolling Stones pushed their latest collection since the death of Brian Jones. Meanwhile, Johnny Cash's San Quentin show brought prisoners and the world to their feet. The Doors' Soft Parade is reviewed, and the Rascals find the British to be a bit cold. But the biggest story is hiding in the charts, where the real magic of September 1969 is brilliantly unfolding. But how do these charts compare to 5 or 10 years prior? Together, we'll trace the astonishing shifts in music and through them, glimpse at a changing society. What you make of it is entirely up to you. Join me for this remarkable episode of One Day in Music History. A big congratulations to Paul and Linda McCartney for welcoming their first child to the world. She was named Mary after Paul's mother, and she weighed 6 pounds and 8 ounces at 1:30 a.m. on August 28th.
You from a club in Hamburg, and I'm Barry Gibb of the Bee Gees. Robin here. Robin, we've heard rumours that the group is splitting up. Would you like to verify those rumours? You say if you said it.
I don't know.
Thank you very much, Mr. Peterson. How about you, Mr. Maloney?
Oh, no, I don't think it is.
Come in, come in.
No.
No.
If I was to say that was true, then I would be the Premier of Russia.
In 1969, a major controversy erupted within the Bee Gees that led to Robin Gibb dramatically leaving the group at the height of their fame. The heart of the conflict, creative control, and clashing egos. Robin had just scored a solo hit with Saved by the Bell, which actually charted higher in the UK than the Bee Gees single Don't Forget to Remember, released around the same time. Robin believed he was being sidelined within the group and grew frustrated that his song Lamplight, which he thought should have been an A-side, was made into a B-side to Barry's lead vocal track instead. Tensions between Robin and Barry, who had been taking more of the frontman role, reached a breaking point. Robin left the Bee Gees in March 1969, publicly citing differences over musical direction. And for a time, things got messy. Robin declared that he was the Bee Gees. Barry and Maurice carried on without him. Lawsuits and insults followed. Fans picked sides. Robin launched a solo career, releasing Robin's Reign, while Barry and Maurice continued as the Bee Gees. The September 1969 issue of Record Mirror discusses the ongoing saga, saying that writs were being issued against the NEMS organization, who signed Robin Gibb, age 19, less than a week earlier, by the Robert Stigwood organization for harm to their organization. Their intention is to stop the New Deal. Robin Gibb's father is even getting involved, saying that he is intending to make Robin a ward of the court for his own safety. Mr. Gibb says he has only seen his son once in 14 weeks since he left the Bee Gees. The Bee Gees eventually reconciled and reunited in 1970, but the 1969 split showed that even sibling harmony in pop music can unravel when fame, ambition, and control are at play. The Rolling Stones want you to pick up their third compilation album, Through the Past Darkly, featuring past hits such as Jumpin' Jack Flash, Street Fighting Man, and Honky Tonk Women. According to Bruce Eder of AllMusic in 2020, the album resulted from 3 coinciding events: the need to acknowledge the recent July 1969 death of the band's founder Brian Jones, whose epitaph graced the inside cover; the need to get Honky Tonk Women, then a huge hit single, onto an LP, and then to fill a 10-month gap since the release of Beggar's Banquet with a new album in stores ahead of the Stones' first American tour in 3 years. When you see this, remember me and bear me in your mind. Let all the world say what they may. Speak of me as you find. The Kinks are interviewed by Record Mirror discussing their pop opera, Arthur, or the Fall of the British Empire. Ray says, "We're really a rhythm and blues outfit, but we want to do a little bit more than that. We've changed somewhat over the last year, and I've been working on Arthur since I got the idea for a pop opera early in '68. Our new single, Shangri-La, comes from the album, and although it lasts for 5.5 minutes, I'm not going to cut it at all. The way I see it, we won't get many plays on the radio and probably no television because of its length, but there's nothing that can be cut out of it. Although it starts gently and quiet, it builds up." He goes on to discuss America's renewed interest in the Kinks. You might remember the Kinks were banned from touring in the U.S. in 1965 by the American Federation of Musicians, a powerful union who decided who could tour in America. They were banned for unprofessional behavior, things like fighting and bad conduct. The ban lasted 4 years, right at the height of the British invasion, and it caused them to lose serious momentum in America. "We're off to the States because there's a renewed interest in us," Ray stated. "I don't know for how long we'll be there though. The last tour we did there was fine as far as the audiences were concerned, but there was a mix-up backstage and with the organization. Now here's where things got a little crazy, possibly to play up their previous tour ban." Record Mirror reports that according to their publicity handouts by Warner Brothers, they have some outrageous PR planned ahead of time to get the Kinks in the news. They are going to stage a series of arrests for the possession of and paternity suits against Dave Davies. This is all supposed to stimulate interest in the group during the tour, according to marketing legend Stan Cornin, who's planning the promotional tactics. But wait, it gets even crazier. There's supposed to be a series of minor arrests for such things as loitering, impersonating an officer, and income tax evasion will be arranged in all the cities that the Kinks play. And to top it off, they will be closing down the Fillmore East halfway through the Kinks' first set under the pretext that they are destroying the hearing of the nation's youth. If this happened, an exclusive piece will appear in an American magazine endorsing Floridization and calling for the abolition of statutory laws. Asked about this, Ray said, "It must be some mad publicity stunt. I've met the people at Warner Brothers and they're not like that." According to the Record Mirror, there's a big interest in the Kinks in America and a big following due to albums such as the Village Green Preservation Society, so it seems uncalled for to indulge in such stunts. Ray states, "We're past the stage of having to force ourselves on the public. People know what they're going to get when they come and see us. There's a difference in our stage and recording work though. On stage we like to thump things out, but when we're in the studio, the music is much more delicate. And as for those supposed planned PR stunts, they never happened. It was probably more of a PR joke or a way to stir up buzz among the music journalists and radio stations." The Kinks embarked on their tour of the U.S. in October '69. The tour was generally uneventful. The band did, however, manage to play a few major venues such as the Fillmore East and Whiskey A Go-Go. Arthur was generally successful in the U.S., with the fabulous single Victoria leading the way.
In a land that I love, but what for? I am free.
Be sure to check out this video on the Kinks, which will be linked in the description and at the end.
Before I left to be a grown man, way back then.
Speaking of Britain, the Rascals are interviewed and have this to say about why their latest hit in the US, Carrying Me Back, has not seen the same success in the UK. As the Record Mirror notes, you will have to go back to Groovin' in '66 to see a Rascals hit there. "I know, Groovin' was a big hit there, wasn't it?" said Felix. "It's funny, but we've always felt coldness from Britain. When we did go there to work, we had problems with permits. I think the group appreciates that Britain record buyers might want to see us perform before buying our discs though. But we do hope to go to England for a couple of days later this year," remarked Gene. "I think a group needs to make appearances at least twice a year in a country in order to get hits there. We certainly do this in America anyway. We spend most of our weekends touring and about 7 or 8 days each month recording." They go on to describe their involvement in every step of the process. "We manage ourselves," says Gene. "We don't want an outside manager and we don't really want anything through other people. We like to follow our discs all the way through from the time we record onwards."
Some gal would giggle and I'd get red, and some guy'd laugh and I'd bust his head. I'll tell you, life ain't easy for a boy named Sue.
Record Mirror reports on the story of Johnny Cash's legendary performance at San Quentin. The memories linger when the folk singer took his guitar and talent inside for 1,000 convicts. That song San Quentin was written by Johnny only the day before. He told the cons, "I think I understand a little bit how you feel about some things. And I try to put myself in your place, and this is the way I feel about San Quentin."
San Quentin, I hate every inch of you.
The prisoners packed in the dining hall. Maximum security men were held in their cells, but with the music piped through. As one American reporter said, he finished the song of San Quentin. There was a moment when inmates stood on their chairs and tables and benches and screamed their applause. Hunched forward on the benches and leaning on the dining tables, which had been set up to make an auditorium of the grim, gray, high-ceilinged room that looked like a giant garage, the men listened. Over on the side above a small loudspeaker, a fork thrown in some mess hall demonstration was embedded in stucco 15 feet above the floor. And said a Granada man, "The striking difference between San Quentin and a British prison is the seemingly lack of overt discipline in the American jail. The prisoners lounge around the yards and corridors. Everybody is on first-name terms. Everybody seems so cool and relaxed, but you can sense the tension underneath. You are very aware of the guns in the walls." Granada was the first television company to get permission to shoot inside the jail. Johnny Cash recalled the time he was picked up by the Starkville City cops in Mississippi for picking flowers at the roadside. He spent the night in jail and was fined $36. "I'd sure like to meet the guy who got my $36, he told the convicts.
Give you that name and I said goodbye. I knew you'd have to get tough or die. And it's that name that helped to make you.
The Doors' latest album, Soft Parade, is given 4 stars out of 4 stars. The review says, "Despite their lack of any real commercial success here, the Doors' image continues to grow bigger and more powerful. This LP starts off with their mediocre single Tell All the People and progresses in quality throughout until the final track, Soft Parade, is reached, and one understands what a mastery the group has over more subtle and intuitive methods of pop communication. Basically, on stage, they're a sex rock act, and this image is hard to get on a record. The Doors don't need to try. Their music speaks for itself. Morrison's deadpan voice, unstrained and often offhand, the well-coordinated backings, the guts inside the music, and the power that lies behind, rather than directly in the songs, all add up to a fine, underground, for Britain at least, album."
Come on, come on, come on, come on, now touch me, babe.
Now we have to talk about the incredible album charts for the week of September 13th, 1969, which in the US includes The Who's Tommy at number 20, Age of Aquarius by Fifth Dimension at number 19, Led Zeppelin's debut self-titled album at 15, Bayou Country by CCR at 14, Nashville Skyline by Bob Dylan at 13, Crosby, Stills and Nash's self-titled debut album at 12, Best of the Bee Gees at number 10, Inagata de Vida by Iron Butterfly at number 9, The Hair soundtrack at number 8, The Doors' Soft Parade at number 7, Jimi Hendrix's Smash Hits at number 6, Romeo and Juliet soundtrack at number 5, Blood, Sweat and Tears at number 4, Best of Cream at number 3, Blind Faith at number 2, and Johnny Cash's San Quentin is at number 1. I mean, talk about an unbelievable list of classics. It's hard to beat that list. It's kind of interesting to compare it to the British top 20 LPs, which is a bit different compared to the US with albums such as Elvis in Memphis, Jim Reeves, and Mantovani, although there are some that are the same. But the real story is in these charts from 5 and 10 years ago. If this doesn't speak to how much the world changed from 1959 to 1969, I don't know what does. 5 years prior, the hit songs on the charts were Where Did Our Love Go by the Supremes, It's All Over Now by the Rolling Stones, I Get Around by the Beach Boys, She's Not There by the Zombies, A Hard Day's Night by the Beatles, As Tears Go By Marianne Faithfull, I'm Into Something Good by Herman's Hermits, Doo-Wah Diddy Diddy by Manfred Mann, Have I the Right by the Honeycombs at number 2. Now, if an artist tried to bring many of those classic hit songs in 1969 to a record company, they'd be outright rejected, or else the audiences would have to be much younger. But the number 1 song is a hint at the shift to come in the music landscape. It's harder, grittier, and the trailblazer of the group. It's the Kinks' You've Really Got Me, where Dave Davies revolutionized the guitar sound. But if we go back even further to 10 years prior, in 1959, we have hits like Only 16 by Sam Cooke, A Teenager in Love by Marty Wilde, Sweeter Than You by Ricky Nelson, Big Hunk of Love by the one and only Elvis, 40 Miles of Bad Road by Duane Eddy, Dream Lover by Bobby Darin, Lonely Boy by Paul Anka, Livin' Doll by Cliff Richard, and at number 1 is Only 16, the song's second showing on the chart by Craig Douglas this time, which may indicate a limited pool of songs. If someone had tried to convince the music industry in 1959 that In-A-Gadda-Da-Vida was the future of music, they would never have believed it, and might have even called the police thinking it was some kind of threat to good taste. But it's much deeper than that. The pushback against traditional norms throughout the 60s paved the way for a cultural shift by 1969, as new freedoms emerged across all aspects of society. Look at the change in fashion from 59 to 65, and then to 69. It's remarkable how the standards of dress declined. Just thinking about the tailored suits and shoes from the British invasion to jeans and crop tops in 69 seems like it would be a 20-year transformation instead of just a few short years. And it's the same for the US. While not as formal, we went from button-up shirts tucked into pants to untucked t-shirts and jeans. Women were rarely seen in pants until the 60s. Now it's the opposite. The shift in standards was also reflected in language, with swearing becoming more commonplace in certain circles, while wild behavior followed suit. Ironically, there were less laws on the books in 59, just higher standards by society, which most people adhered to. But popular music was becoming as exciting and sophisticated as ever compared to 59. 1959 music would never have been as satisfying to a 1969 audience. These outward signs mirrored the change in music, culture, and society as a whole. Whether that was progress or regress, I will leave for you to decide. Let me know in the comments what you think. Be sure to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.